The Young Turks is a YouTube media channel which provides daily commentary on politics and other societal issues. They are deeply involved with the efforts to combat climate change and have now started a campaign of 10 days to involve people in shaping a future in which we actually address climate change. Do note that I don't end the previous sentence with the word effectively, because what is happening now is that millions of people have become engaged in a false narrative, namely the idea that 100% clean and renewable energy will be the solution. This is not true. However, the Young Turks is a pretty influential channel with 3.3 million subscribers, which is about 12,000 times more than I have. But with these actions, they keep spreading this narrative. I don't doubt their sincerity when it comes to seeing the seriousness of climate change. In fact, I applaud them for their effort. But they are now touching upon issues on which a great deal of the environmentalist movement is that wrong. The problem here is whatever I say will not be acknowledged because I'm just a fringe lunatic with a hand calculator who is saying that these people need to stop. At some point, we need big movements too, because we are getting drowned in this sea of mindless zombies that have formed this massive lemming train that is about to go over the cliff. The 100% renewable energy hyperbole needs to be stopped. We need a 100% clean energy plan, not a 100% renewable energy plan. So that is why I am responding to these 10 days of the Young Turks urging you to become a climate change activist. Al Gore has made a sequel to The Inconvenient Truth, and I am really keen on watching it, but I have some reservations in advance because I see which partners are mentioned. First one is the Rocky Mountain Institute, a continuous stream of anti-nuclear research performed by Amory Lovins, which will get its own video in due time. Then there is the Climate Reality Project from Al Gore, where 100% renewable is particularly prominent on the I am pro snow /100% committed page. It reads, and I quote, "Making the shift to 100% renewable electricity is easier than you think, and we are here to help show you how. Plus, along with cutting dangerous greenhouse gas emissions and protecting the places and seasons we love, switching to clean electricity from sources like wind and solar has a host of other benefits." The Sierra Club, being active in promoting 100% renewables, has even a nuclear-free page. The NRDC is overtly and actively anti-nuclear energy and uses every possibility to conflate civilian nuclear energy with nuclear weapons. So back to the Young Turks. They have an anti-nuclear slant themselves. Sometimes they get excited because of thorium, but mostly their news is negative. Why? Because they do not understand radiation and its effects to nature and humans well enough. See for yourself.
Up to 100 millisieverts per hour on their radiation gauges when they had workers walking around these tanks making sure that they were okay. Well, it turns out that TEPCO's gauges only go up to 100 millisieverts per hour. When they got some new, more sensitive gauges, it turns out that the actual radiation levels outside these tanks that are leaking are actually around 1,800 millisieverts per hour, which is enough to kill a person within 5 hours.
Yeah.
Anytime you're dealing with radiation and a nuclear reactor, you have to go against what someone is telling you and go with your better judgment.
And I believe we just showed you the radioactive snow. And I mean, you saw how much it was. I mean, they're literally surrounded by the radioactive material. So it's understandable why so many of the guys on the aircraft carrier and women got so sick. And nuclear fallout ain't nothing to mess with.
Haven't even gotten to the more amazing facts.
Let's talk about some of the cleanup effort that's ongoing. So look, there was the meltdown that happened. This is 6 years ago. But spent nuclear fuel is not like wood that's on fire, and it continues to be a problem for a long time. Tokyo Electric Power Company is still pumping water nonstop through the 3 reactors to cool melted fuel that remains to this day too hot and radioactive to remove, generating 400 tons of contaminated water every single day for years and years and years. They have almost 1 million tons of that contaminated radioactive water in a storage space, and so they're going to need more storage spaces. That's just amazing. That look, how long are they going to have to do this? Is it going to be years? Is it going to be decades? Is it going to be longer? Eventually, they are going to have to cap the entire thing like Chernobyl.
And by the way, think about
Going
that,
up
man.
every day.
It's been 6 years since the nuclear meltdown. The water is still too hot after 6 years. And they have to keep pouring the water in constantly to cool it off. Otherwise, it's going to have an even bigger explosion.
Yeah.
Let's see what Brett Ehrlich has to say about Sierra Club.
So President Trump took us out of the Paris Climate Accord, which how could you hate the Paris Accord? It's a non-binding, non-treaty that 200 countries are okay with. But with the president making a lot of moves in that vein, it's now up to us to take action on our own to make sure that we address the very real issue of climate change. The good news is that local leaders are stepping up to fill the void that the president has left. Across the country, there is a growing movement of local leaders, towns, municipalities to make the transition to 100% renewable energy. And communities are moving beyond coal and dirty fuels. We at TYT recognize the severity of this issue, and so we've partnered with Participant Media and Al Gore's new movie, An Inconvenient Sequel, to make real change in the world. As part of that, we have started the hashtag #BeInconvenient 10 Days of Action. And each day, we're spotlighting a new non-governmental organization that's doing its part. And today, we're focusing on the Sierra Club.
The Young Turks have made a small promotional video for Sierra Club because that's what this basically is. The issue with Sierra Club is this: they claim to listen to their members. However, when members unite and try to challenge policy decisions, they are shunned and ignored. I happen to know about a dozen members of Sierra Club who have actively sought contact with the board in order to communicate the actual science with them, as was the idea of the original founder. The members are academics with years of relevant expertise and have challenged Sierra Club's choice to end their support for nuclear in the 1960s and turn it around to become anti-nuclear. The Sierra Club is one of those big organizations who is actively seeking to keep this rift between nuclear and renewables open. The dogmatic insistence on renewables exclusively is actually hurting our ability to combat climate change effectively. The longer we postpone support for new nuclear development and innovation, the more damage we will inflict thanks to our inactivity to address climate change effectively. And as long as we kick the can down the road, aging power plants will remain a focus of those who want to write negatively about nuclear power, and thus they create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Nothing is easier than to blame stagnation. We need to re-educate millions upon millions of people in order to get them on board with this scientific fact that nuclear energy is required to mitigate as much damage as possible.
It's not just these cities. Nearly 40 cities across America have committed to the goal of 100% clean and renewable energy. And now it's your turn to get involved. Do you want to go check and see if your town is committed to this goal? Go to readyfor100.org and see for yourself. And get involved.
If you really care about climate change and want us to act accordingly, you either voice your concerns elsewhere or try to influence the board of Sierra Club. Perhaps if enough people start doing this, they might return to the vision of their founding father and adopt a scientific mindset rather than a populist mindset. As for the Young Turks, I don't have high hopes for them. Perhaps one day they will see the light. It might be the advent of the molten salt reactor, which is being progressed by terrestrial energy and Thorcon power. Maybe this will be enough to change their mind, but it will take another 5 to 10 years before we will see that tree bear fruit. In the meanwhile, check out their websites. If you haven't already, please subscribe and click the thumbs up button if you think that this video was good. And if you didn't like it, click the thumbs down button because that's what it's there for. Thank you all for watching.